It's an insult to the personality of God that when we preachers want to teach about how worship moves God, we use the weirdest example from the Bible, which is Herod's daughter dancing before him to get him to do what she desires, as an example of how worship can move a king. Do you really know who God is? Didn't you read that even after Herod promised his daughter that he will give her anything, even half of the kingdom, because of the way she danced in honor of him, he regretted when he heard the demands of his daughter? When she said, I want the head of John the Baptist, because that's what the mother convinced her to go and ask the father for. The father was heartbroken. He wasn't happy. That is to show you the limitation of man's foresight or man's intuitive power. If he had known that the desire or the demand of his daughter would be John the Baptist, he wouldn't have made that promise. But you see, because he's limited in his power, out of excitement gotten from the honor or worship his daughter gave to him through her wonderful dance, he said, I will give you anything. And the daughter demanded for what broke his heart. And then we use this story as an example of explaining how worship moves the heart of God. Who told you that God is as limited as Herod? God sees the future. He sees your heart. So he knows exactly what you want. He knows exactly what you want to do with what you want. So how dare you think because you worship him, you will just do whatever you want? God is not limited like man. He knows that if he gives you that thing, it can make you proud. He knows the motive of your heart. The Bible says it's not like man that judges outwardly. He judges the intent and the motives of our hearts. So it doesn't matter if you give God the best worship. God will not be moved if he sees in your heart or he sees in the future what you are desiring or asking of him would make you do negatively. So out of all the examples in the Bible, I cringe. I become disturbed when I see preachers using this as an example, despite the fact that they even read that Herod was heartbroken when he heard the desire of his daughter, because he never wanted to do that. But here is a God that knows our future, that knows the motive of our hearts, that knows the content of our desires, that knows exactly what your motives are. And you think you can just move God because you gave one tithe, or because you danced, or because you worshipped him with offering, or you fell on the ground, you were rolling. You see, we can't deceive God. We can't deceive God. That's why I always preach to people. Worship is not the greatest weapon, because sometimes you hear people saying, if prayer doesn't work, try worship. Who told you are trying worship? You don't try things with God. Your heart verifies everything you do before him. So the Bible even says he doesn't want your burnt offering. He wants obedience. He doesn't want your worship. He wants surrender. He wants obedience. He wants purity. Move God with worship, and then use Herod and his daughter as an example. The one that is called omniscience. The one that can see where your eyes can't see. The one that even knows your future that you don't know. The one that knows what you can become that you yourself don't even know. And then we think we can manipulate God with worship. Oh my God. Dear believers, work on your hearts before you work on your dance step or your song or your offering. Rolling on the ground does not guarantee that God will move for you. It is the turning of your heart from iniquity that attracts the Lord. The Lord is not man, and is not limited like man that we can manipulate with our worship.